speechless. What an audience. This is a historical day for King Saud University. To see the leaders, the representatives of European nations come to this university, acknowledging its strength, its qualities, led by His Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union, and ambassadors of great nations from Europe. What a day. So good morning to all of you. Your Excellencies, Mr. Patrick Simonet, the EU Ambassador to KSA. Other ambassadors I will not mention but by name, but I will definitely go by country. The Ambassador of Ireland, the Ambassador of Cyprus, the Ambassador of Belgium, the Ambassador of Sweden, and the Ambassador
Netherlands.
Mamleket. Oh, Holland. Yes, thank you very much. Welcome. I didn't see you in the, so you got in. We welcome all of you. We welcome all the diplomats. We welcome all KSU members of students first, staff, researchers, and administration. Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Salman, Your Excellency, Dr. Khalid Al-Humaizi, and Your Excellency, Dr. Abdul Latif Al-Sheikh. It's really an honor for me to be before you. And I would like to start by offering my sincere thanks to the European Union and KSA for this historic visit to King Saud University and for giving us the opportunity to host you. Your Excellency, Ambassador Simone, yesterday night at the European Day celebrations, your speech ended by quoting something. It really was an ear catching. You stated it very well, sir. And I would like to repeat it, and what you have said, and I do quote. You have said in your closing, Europe is your neighbor. Europe is your partner, and Europe is your friend. This is true. This is true. Europe is a neighbor, Europe is a partner, and Europe is a friend. And today we are exhibiting that. We wholeheartedly agree with you as we are witnessing an era when the leadership of this kingdom is strengthening relationships with Europe to a level never seen before. The Gulf states in general, and Saudi Arabia in particular, as your neighbor to the EU, and as such, exchanges in all fields, political, economic, and cultural need to be increased. The strengthened, unified European voice makes the EU an even more active, attractive, and reliable partner to the GCC states. KSU is very proud to host Your Excellencies, all of you, and you in particular, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union. Special thanks for making this event possible, and for the talk that you will be given today. It is something for all of us that we want to learn from what you're going to say. There's no doubt about this. What you're going to say is of value to all of us. I've heard some of it yesterday, and I'm sure we anticipate more. We foresee a lot of positive outcome from potential collaborations with EU institutions and KSU. We are very proud to be part of this important program indeed. If I can take a moment to say that among the discussions that could take place later today, we also hope that you will consider the challenges our students face with the EU visa application process. We hope that to be soon eliminated, as it had happened last week with the UK. Sometimes I surprise the leadership of King Saud University when I say these things without prior notification, but I'm glad that the UK has waived it. We look forward for Europe to waive it. We Saudis will treasure this. I assure you, we will never stay away from our country beyond what we aim to travel to your countries for. We go to enjoy it. We go to strengthen relationships with Europe, but we will not take any jobs from Europeans, and we will not violate any rules or rights or jeopardize anything in the, but hopefully that will come soon. I would like to thank you once again for your time and hope we can forge today what will be the start of a very strong and fruitful partnership. I would like to conclude by stealing His Excellency's of my own, and Mr. Ambassador, what he said. Saudi Arabia is your neighbor. Saudi Arabia is your partner. Saudi Arabia is your friend. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you, ambassadors of the great Europe, and we welcome all of you. And now, sir, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I hope you hear me well. I don't hear any reply, so I suspect it is. Thank you very much, Dr. Mazid, sorry, for your kind words. It's always a pleasure to hear that from you. Your Excellencies of the University Council, my fellow ambassadors from the European Union, dear colleagues, dear students, it's a great honor for me here today to have, first to be at the King Saud University with all its eminent teachers and students, and we all remember that His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has been also sitting on those benches. So it's a great honor for me and my colleague to be there with you and to have this what I hope will be an interesting interaction with the academic community and the students of the King Saud University, which is the biggest university of the kingdom. I think, as we were discussing, it's probably one of the biggest universities in the world. I mean, with 64,000 students, it's an impressive. It's a little city which we like to see every morning we pass by and we see you and we greet you. You don't know about it, but we support your efforts and we stand by you in your efforts towards knowledge and towards understanding better the world as it is. So that will be an opportunity for me to discuss a bit about the EU and about enhancing our relations with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf. But if you allow me, I will focus today more on the Kingdom than the Gulf. But a lot of what I will be saying about the Kingdom, I think, can easily apply to the rest of the Gulf. But being accredited and in my capacity today as a EU ambassador to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I think you will understand. I will concentrate mainly on that. Today is a special date in several accounts. I mean, Dr. Mazid, you were kindly referring to yesterday's celebration of Europe Day. I mean, Europe Day was actually 7 days ago, but it's for us every year a celebration of our unity and stability, our longest period of stability in Europe's recent history. So we have been in stable and united for the last 72 years, and that's what we were celebrating every year. So that's one. Second is yesterday, indeed, I mean, the EU has launched in Brussels a new strategy for the Gulf. Then the question is, why did we have really a strategy with the Gulf? I think we had many strategies with the Gulf, but what we wanted was to collapse that in one single foreign policy document. And make no mistake, I mean, Europe is not doing that every time. I think every year we have one major foreign policy paper, a foreign policy statement that is released. Last year it was about the Indo-Pacific. This year is about the Gulf. So for Europe, 2022 is the year of the Gulf. And then the third reason why it's important for me to be here today is that 2022 is also the year of the youth. So for all those reasons, it's a pleasure. But coming back to let's say the subject of today is, again, yesterday, 18 May, the US launched its new strategy with the Gulf, and I insist really on the strategy, because what it is about, it's to turn our relationship into something more strategic, more higher level, more political, more security oriented. So it is about, and I really invite you to look at the document, but as a matter of introduction, it's about higher level of political coordination between our respective authorities. It's about better cooperation on our respective economic strategies, your vision 2030 and what we call on our side the European Green Deal. A stronger and deeper relationship on security matters, which are unfortunately very, very challenging those days. It's about finding better ways to boost our trade and economic relations, and I will come back again on that. And I think, and our relation is much more than energy. It has been indeed structured by exchange of and flows of energy products for many years. But now it's about sharing a new vision on renewable energy, and I think it's important. Quickly, as a let's say a preliminary remark, why is it important to have a strategic partnership? Why do we have to be partners and partners at the strategic level? First, because we both are facing a series of shared and regional challenges. The world is faced with a crisis of, let's say, multilateralism. We know about that. I mean, you're students of law and political sciences, so you know about that. The challenge we face with a rule-based order that is put in question very, very regularly. We all have to live and to deal with the post-pandemic recovery. I mean, that's again, we were always impressed by the way the kingdom has faced the pandemic, but we are all faced with a challenge putting our economies back on track. We all have to act on the digital and green transition. That's an imperative for our economies and for our societies. Again, we have to take up challenges in regional peace, in collective security. I mean, not to mention the recent aggression on Ukraine, and we have many humanitarian crises that we need to deal together, like the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, for example. So all those are challenges which impose themselves on all of us. The EU is a global actor. I think you will concede that, and we're trying to take a lead on all those challenges. The Gulf, on its side, is also a global actor, is a regional actor, is a dynamic region, very close, as Dr. Mazid recalled, very close to us. We are neighbors. The Gulf is in a geopolitical or geostrategic, if you want, position between Europe, Asia, and Africa. And what you know also is, because we have seen that in the past, is that your stability and prosperity very much bears direct consequence on us. So for this reason, I mean, that was the conviction of European leaders that we stand to gain from a stronger and more strategic, and again, the key word is strategic, the partnership between Europe and the Gulf. But building on the long-standing relationship, I mean, it's not we're not talking about beginning. I mean, we're talking about taking something to the next level. Let's not forget, I mean, our member states here present have been having diplomatic and official relationship with the Gulf for many years, even before 1932 in the case of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I mean, you know better because you learn history that it goes back to the Middle Ages, to the exchanges, the Muslim scholars visiting Europe and sharing their scientific or cultural or artistic knowledge and experiences. So we are talking about a long-standing relationship. As EU, we have been having an agreement. I think we are your oldest and closest institutional partner because we have an agreement which dates back 1989. So that's really there's a strong basis, and we wanted to take this basis to the next level. How do we do that? So you will see. I won't get into all the details, but what we have seen over the last few months, and you have seen all foreign ministers coming from Europe, coming and visiting the kingdom. We have received, you have received our High Representative Josep Borrell in Riyadh last October. Your foreign minister has visited Europe and Brussels several times. So through this increased diplomatic engagement, I think we have come to the realization that we needed to again to take it to the next level and to structure it better. So the new strategy, which is on the table now, is about having more regular ministerial meetings, foreign ministers meeting like we had last February, which means the 6 foreign ministers of the Gulf, together with the 27 foreign ministers of the EU, to have much more ministerial meetings on energy, on education, on all the topics which are important for us, including the possibility to have summits, so meaning at heads of state level, which is really what being a strategic partner is about. I will go quickly. There's also some proposal maybe to look at even deeper bilateral agreements about extending our network of delegations, so presence in the field, proposing a special envoy on Gulf security. So there's a whole side of the proposal which is about enhancing our institutional relations. Then I think it talks a lot about our interest to have closer economic links. I think I would say that, and speaking in the name of all my colleagues, we're impressed by the Vision 2030 and by the scope and depth of the socioeconomic transformation at work here and in the region, but especially here. And also here, insofar it impacts a lot the region as well. I think in terms of economic diversification, if we look at your approaches and ours, I mean, we see very compatible goals. We're both, again, committed to green and digital transition. And we see that in many ways we can contribute to each other's objectives. So we are a bit natural partner when it comes to economic diversification. I will come back in a minute on energy, but there are many sectors like digital, like tourism, like entertainment industry, and so on and so forth, which are the core of the Vision 2030, where we have valuable expertise and knowledge, possible potential investments we can make. There are already many member states of Europe that are involved, but many more can be included. So that's what it is to build a stronger relationship there. Let's not forget, Europe is your second largest trading partner. It's important. We were the first one, but now China is your first trading partner. But we are still your first provider of foreign direct investment, so which is important, which shows that we have a basis, but we can go even further in terms of boosting trade and investment. Quickly, there's still a possibility that we would negotiate a free trade agreement. We see the benefit, but it will be discussed afterwards with your authorities. Then on economy, I think we see the kingdom and the region as really let's say financial powers. I mean, economic and financial powers that can also with whom we can work together in the rest of the world. And we have put on the table also a strategy which is called Global Gateway, which is about building connectivity corridors in many different fields. Let me give you an example. We have what we call the East Med corridor in the East Mediterranean, which is connected a lot of European countries and countries of the region, which we could easily connect more with the Gulf, so that we can integrate, let's say, our grids, electricity, energy, gas, and maybe in the future hydrogen. So there's a whole discussion to be had on what we can do together in terms of having, let's say, smarter and smoother corridors of connectivity. And that means also possibly working with the big financial institutions that you're hosting, like the Islamic Development Bank. On energy, first, I think we are both faced with the historic challenge of climate change. The Gulf region is particularly affected by climate change. Don't question me on that. I'm sure you know better, but that's what my notes are saying. But I think anyway, we are all very much confronted with climate change, whether here or in Europe. And so we have different ways to deal with it. And I like the formula of His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz, your Minister of Energy, was saying that everyone will choose its own path and the ways to get there. But obviously, we have an interest to cooperate on climate change. There are so many initiatives that have been published by announced by the Kingdom beyond the Vision 2030, the whole plan for a circular carbon economy, the Saudi Green Initiative, the Middle East Green Initiative. For us, it's called the EU Green Deal again. So there we can work certainly further. But also in our bilateral relationship, we have long been importers of fossil fuels and petrochemicals, typically oil and petrochemicals from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But as you might know, the EU now wants to switch progressively to imports of renewable energy, hydrogen notably. And we know and we see and we hear that the Kingdom is willing to become a world leader in production and export of green hydrogen. And that is natural because you have so many advantages: sea, sun, wind. So Europe has the potential to, is your closest market and has the potential to become your biggest export market of green hydrogen. So there's a very good match, and the new strategy puts a lot of emphasis on that, on an energy relationship which could become greener and greener. Maybe a last point on gas, because you know that further to the Russian aggression on Ukraine, the EU has decided to reduce its dependence on import of gas from Russia. And in this respect, we consider that Gulf countries are natural allies. And even I think this is relevant for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who has the intention of becoming also net exporter of gas. So that's also something which has become recently very important for us. Let me move to security and regional stability. It's a key objective for us to coordinate even more with the Kingdom on regional stability matters. We see the Kingdom as having an essential role in regional stability and regional cooperation and integration. I think we all saw it with His Royal Highness efforts that led to the reconciliation with Qatar in the Al-Ula summit last year. This was a courageous step which ended the rift and brought back together a united front of the GCC. And again, I think we see ourselves as the strongest supporter to the GCC, and this new situation has allowed actually to create a new momentum for the reactivation of the EU GCC engagement, so with the organization. And in this context, we organized the first in 5 years a joint cooperation council in Brussels this February with your foreign ministers of the region and our foreign ministers in Brussels. On security, I think we're happy to see a lot of convergence and coordination on many issues. We cooperate on counterterrorism. We had recently the visit of our EU counterterrorism coordinator to discuss about those issues. We see a lot of convergence on Africa, for example, and we have very much appreciated the Saudi initiative for the establishment of the Red Sea Council, and we stand ready to work closely with the Council when it's established. I could list all the topics, but I think when it comes to the Middle East peace process, I think we are probably the staunchest supporters of a two-state solution, which we see as becoming even more necessary considering what's happening currently in Palestine. On Syria, I would say we see also a very much need to preserve need for a political process to ensure the return of Syrian refugees in Syria. To take another example, Afghanistan, for example, I think that has been one of the big, let's say, geopolitical change over the last months. I think we, together with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I think we see the need to preserve the acquis of the past 10 years on rights of women, rights of girls to access education, the need for political inclusivity, the need for Afghanistan not to harbor terrorists. We appreciated a lot the positive stance of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in, demonstrated by the bilateral talks with Iran. You know that we have a particular role in as EU in the negotiations in Vienna on the JCPOA. We don't see the JCPOA as the revitalized JCPOA as the end of the road, but we see that as a basis on which to build, let's say, and to engage all relevant actors and contain the activities of individual countries and their proxies. I think we see, and you will see that also addressed in the strategy, an interest to work more with the region on maritime security. Again, Gulf countries have become major regional actors in the broader MENA region, and particularly the Kingdom, and we need and we consider that we need to work more closely. We need to work more closely also on humanitarian crisis, and that's something we really want to engage about. There's a big challenge on global, let's say, the need to address global challenges. Gulf countries are increasing their cooperation in multilateral fora, notably climate change and green transition, on the issue of economic post-pandemic recovery. And this is also building on the very good G20 presidency of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that is something we want to take forward. Let me finish before losing my audience. Let me finish with people to people, which is the indispensable, let's say, element of our relations. again, I repeat, we welcome, and not only welcome, but support the rapid economic and societal transformation in the Gulf. And we consider that it offers a wealth of opportunities for cooperation. You have seen our efforts to launch this year a Europe Month of Culture, with many activities coming from our delegation, but also from the embassies of the member states in Riyadh, really to develop opportunities to share context and culture. And I hope some of you have participated or are going to participate in those activities. But we see further possibilities to enhance ties on research and education, scholarships between the Kingdom, the Gulf, and Europe. So that is really something. Maybe we'll have questions from the floor on that. But we stand also ready to share expertise and accompany our partners in the Gulf in those changes, in those social changes, and to focus on youth and women. And we also welcome the recent positive developments on human rights. I would say that you will see in this new strategy that we are committed, to achieve visa liberalization, to reply to the point made by Dr. Mazid, for the whole region. So that's a commitment that you will see. Look, maybe just if you allow me 1 minute to finish on education, say maybe a bit more on that. I think I cannot resist the opportunity to tell you that there's a lot of opportunities for you in higher education in Europe. You would be amazed by the volume of courses that are offered in English, much more than you could imagine. I think there was a figure that I saw that almost 80% of the masters now degree in Europe are in English. So you need to lose this idea that when you go and study in Holland, in Sweden, in France, or in Cyprus, you're going to be faced with the obligation of learning the language. No, you will have opportunities to find courses in English, and you will have another opportunity actually to learn another language, which would be an asset to you for your future professional life. But there's so many different interests for you to go and study in Europe. First, we have some of the best universities in the world. I mean, if you look at all the rankings, so in terms of quality, you have the quality there. You have the number, I think it's 4,000 higher educations, right, registered in Europe. There's an economic also interest. I mean, mind you, the tuition fees in Europe are much less than what they are in the UK or in the US. Being a student in Europe is a wonderful experience, cultural experience. You're in one country, but you can travel in the 27. So it's a fascinating cultural experience for you. What can I say more? I mean, it should be good enough to invite you to look at all kinds of possibilities, and please approach each and every country or approach us, and we would be very happy to give you more tips on how to start exploring those opportunities which we think are very much untapped. So thank you so much. As Dr. Mazid stole my ending words, but I would repeat in my own, let's say, in my own way. Europe is your neighbor, is your closest neighbor, I would say. Europe is your partner, and now your strategic partner. But at the end of the day, Europe is your friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. this is really a day that probably we will treasure. I have always been accused of being opportunist. I do not tell my peers what comes up to my mind and ask of our guests. From my capacity as the director of the International Cooperation Department, I here ask Your Excellency if it's possible to provide us with a list from all the 27 European states of what seats for the masters and PhDs we can be granted. If we do so, we promise you that we will communicate directly with the hub that you choose to designate, and we will work with our students. King Saud University provides the nation and the world with graduates, and Canada is the best example of enjoying the Saudi doctors who go to that nation and to specialize and serve the nation and the medical services. We would like to see that is happening in Europe. The new Saudi Arabia, with the vision of 2030, led by the Crown Prince Mohammed, is a new nation, is a nation of further enhancement of love and passion of what Saudis think of their brothers and neighbors in the West. We would like you to perceive us as truly your neighbors and your friends. And with what I have suggested, and I promise, we can be the kitchen to really work a recipe that we can exchange good programs, and we'll provide you with good students that will become ambassadors of Saudi Arabia to your nations, then to carry the flag and become ambassadors of those nations back to Saudi Arabia. That is the mentality of the Saudis. So if I can ask of that, that would be a wonderful opportunity, and we can call it the first step forward in further enhancing what we see as a great political movement towards the positive direction for both entities, the kingdom and the European countries. So if we can have that, we can start to get in business. In one statement, I can say my country is no longer depending on petroleum. We are going green. Green economy is what signifies now Saudi Arabia. If you read and you go through the latest economic reports, what you have just heard can be testified. Saudi Arabia now is producing and generating revenue of its human resources. We need your help to be part of our community, our given community to the world, where we are the country of Islam, that we are extending hands to the neighbors, to all nations around the world, and in particular to Europe, to show the Saudis are your partners truly. So for the green economy, our strength, we have clean energy. We have wind, we have the solar, and we have the sand. You would be surprised that one of our KSU scholars, Dr. Hani Al-Ansari, has developed a technique where an energy can be extracted from soil, and no one can challenge us of the amount of of sand. No one can challenge us of having more sand. So here we are. We can set the stage starting with clean energy. We do that, and that is one step forward into the green economy. Also, I have a dream, since we are in a very unique circumstance. The first time a diplomat is delivering a lecture from a campus, the largest campus and the oldest, and that is King Saud University. diplomat is delivering a lecture. This is a wonderful opportunity. On behalf of His Excellency, the President of King Saud University, Dr. Badran Al-Omar, who offers his not being able to attend today, actually due to prior arrangements. He's very sorry that he could not make it today, but we pledge that we will deliver to him a report of what has happened today. So if we can start the Q&A based on what I have triggered, green economy, Saudi Arabia's generation is going to work with the rest of the world, and in particular with Europe, to provide for humanity, getting some seats for the graduate, masters and PhDs of all disciplines, having hubbed that at KSU, and perhaps seek to have KSU as the platform for the strategic studies of Middle Eastern, GCC, and Europe. With that, I open the floor for any questions for His Excellency, and we are ready. We have a good time to answer. Any question? Yes, sir. If you can pass the microphone. The microphone. And if someone in Arabic is to deliver a question, and I will be happy to translate. إذا في أحد عنده أي سؤال في اللغة العربية أنا بمشيئة الله تعالى أترجم هذا السؤال. تفضل.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ghalib Al-Khaldi from Prince Naif University for Arab Security Studies. Mr. Ambassador, first of all, I would like to thank you for this address this morning. Looks like you have lots of fans here. People must like you a lot. And we really enjoyed the speech, and we look forward actually for further cooperation with the EC. There is a great deal of respect for Europe in this part of the world. Having said that, I have two questions. One is about what was talking about a few minutes ago about the educational exchange. I would like to see more scholarships given to GCC states by EC universities, sponsored by the EC community itself. This has been done to other countries in the world, and I wish as part of this cooperation to be increased that, in addition to university exchange program where professors can do a sabbatical in European universities and vice versa. That's my first question. My second question is actually has to do with security of this region. Mr. Ambassador, we in this part of the world are concerned very much with security. JCPOA does not address our field. It addresses Iran, it addresses Europe, it addresses the United States, it addresses even Israel, but it doesn't address this part of the world. We are concerned not much with the nuclear program as much with the Iranian interference in this part of the world. In fact, yesterday, King Abdullah II of Jordan addressed this issue by saying there are security challenges on the border with Syria because of Russian leaving this region, and Iran will step in this part of the world. I would like to ask you, how do you think EC can help addressing GCC fears and Iran continued interference in this part of the world, especially that Iran enjoys chaos rather than stability, which we adhere for. Thank you very much. That's my question.
Thank you. For the questions will be taken. If you can directly, just so we can have as many questions as possible, just to make them brief and direct. But thank you, that's clear, and I'm sure His Excellency will have an answer. Yeah. Okay.
No, thank you. No, thank you for your questions, and I'm very happy if my colleagues sitting in the first rank and then want to come in with some comments as well. The floor is open to you as well. Look, on the fair point of sorry, scholarships, I think we were very happy last week to have unprecedented participation to the International Conference on Education in Riyadh. We had an EU stand, which has been, I think, which was busy with, let's say, with questions and people coming and discussing all the opportunities. What we wanted, I think, you have to give us a bit of time to scale up the system. What we felt was important, considering the low uptake of currently of Saudi students in Europe. I mean, apart from some countries, I mean, I always mention the number of students, I think 1,500 that are currently in Ireland. So you have already a great participation, but all together in those countries in particular. But altogether, if you take the 27 member states, I think the level of participation can be largely improved. So what we wanted to do in the first place was to raise awareness. So hence me coming and my colleagues to tell you, look at Europe, because Europe is good, Europe is less expensive, and Europe is quite diverse in terms of opportunities and life experience. I think it's convincing and it's convincing argument. So what we did was, and I hope you saw that on the social media, is also telling you about positive experience of students going there. I mean, we had, I remember, Sadek, a Bahraini student who went to Slovakia, and frankly, when he tells about his experience, it's you want to go to Slovakia, I mean, to live the same experience. Or our friend Abdurrahman, who studied in France and was working, by the way, as a trainee in the EU delegation in Riyadh, and who had a fantastic experience also, and is now on a PhD in Europe. So I think it's the first step. It's to raise experience, raise awareness, tell you about the possibilities, give you the information, so we have all the and we can convey that through Dr. Mazid, all the information that we have been able to gather ourselves on the issue. And then there's the financial aspect. Again, I think altogether, tuition fees are almost, I mean, public universities in Europe are free. So, I mean, you have like a very symbolic tuition fee. So already you put that aside. But still, you need scholarships. And since recently, we have made this effort, the Gulf countries can access a scholarship program, which is under Erasmus+, but not to become too technical. Again, we can convey the information. So scholarships exist as well. But as I was discussing with your eminent board of, let's say, the council of the university, we can certainly have more structured partnership between Saudi universities and European universities. So it's work. Sorry, it's work in progress, but definitely there are opportunities more than you would think. So it's just a matter of accessing the information and making the information readily available for your students. On the issue of Iran, obviously, yes, you're right. I mean, the JCPOA is not the end of the day. For us, as you know, as Europeans, for us, it was important to revitalize this agreement for non-proliferation, let's say, objectives. So that's why the EU is coordinating the talks in Vienna as we speak. So we are still that an agreement can be found. Now, as you say, I mean, there are many more discussions that need to be had in the region. And what we say in our strategy that is out yesterday is that we're ready, especially building on the positive conclusion of the GCPOA to contribute in other ways to the regional security, and even possibly at some stage, but that's in your hands, to setting up some kind of regional security architectures. But we are ready to contribute through confidence building initiatives. Again, on maritime security, for example, there are 2 European naval operations in the region that are important, and we think they'll contribute to decreasing tensions. So there are many more things that we can do to help the region, but again, it has to be driven and owned by the region itself. So your message is well understood, and we stand ready as EU to contribute in any ways we can. Thank you. Sorry, there was
there's another question.
No, but my colleague, the Irish ambassador, wanted to.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the floor. And can I just say it's a pleasure to be back at KSU. And thank you for your hospitality as always. And can I thank everyone for attending? The last time I spoke at a university here in Riyadh, there were 20 people in the lecture hall. I was assured that there were a couple of hundred watching via WebEx. So it just shows how much has changed. And it's wonderful to be able to meet person to person again. And can I also pay tribute to my EU colleagues for organizing not only this symposium, but also for the activities around Europe Month. As has been mentioned, Ireland has very close education links with Saudi over many years, and indeed with the whole GCC. Normally, we would have around 1,500 Saudi students studying in Ireland, and I do want to emphasize that when you study in Ireland, you're also allowed to work in Ireland. And I think it's very important that study and work, the practical experience, these 2 elements are very, very important. They are mutually reinforcing, so we would very much welcome you to consider studying in Ireland, but also working in Ireland and indeed visiting Ireland. Before I conclude, because I don't want to trespass on the time for questions, Patrick mentioned the importance of people-to-people links. This is fundamental to our relationship. And I would like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the many Saudi medical students who, while they were studying in Ireland during the pandemic, also opted very generously to work in the Irish Health Service. And this is people-to-people links at its very best. So thank you again for organizing this event today. And a particular thank you to the many Saudi medical students who worked in our health service during the pandemic. So I will just hand over to my colleague from Cyprus. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador of Ireland. Mr. Ambassador of Cyprus.
Yes, from the western part of Europe to the eastern part of Europe, I just want to mention I would like to thank you first for this opportunity. Talking about scholarships, I wish to stress to fellow students and professors that Cyprus has offered during the last few years more than 150 scholarships to its universities, specifically for Saudi students. The problem that we are facing is the recognition of some degrees by the Ministry of Education. We are working on it, and very soon there's going to be a delegation coming from the University of Cyprus, the biggest university and high-ranked university among in the world rankings in Saudi Arabia, and I'll make sure that they will also visit King Saud University and will brief you on detail on the available scholarships, because there are scholarships, and of course Cyprus is the closest European Union state to the kingdom, and it will be great if we have Saudi students among us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On the scholarship scheme, I would like to, if we can get actually a written report that we can look at we would like to see scholarships. Not that we cannot support the students who otherwise would go, but it means a lot in strengthening the ties. And that's the purpose of scholarships. I know Italy, I went to Italy about 4 months ago. They are willing to offer about 10 scholarships to my university for the masters and PhDs, and I'm working with that. So we hope all the European countries through the European Union and Mr. Ambassador, we can be provided a list, and we will work on that very extensively and materialize it and publicize it, and we will give you reports on the progress. If any of the ambassadors has anything to say, or then we can move on to another question. Yes, sir. تفضل. بس لو سمحت brief يعني direct to the question.
أولا أحب أشكر سعادة السفير. معكم الدكتور فهد العرفج من كلية القانون والعلوم السياسية. الدكتور السفير ذكر أنه البرامج اللي تقدم باللغة الإنجليزية فعلا أدهشتني، اللي هي أكثر من 80%، خاصة الدراسات العليا. فبالتالي حاب أسأل هل هي دول دون دول من الدول الاتحاد أو أنها دول محددة؟ فقط هذا السؤال. السؤال مثل ما ذكرت أن السفير ذكر أنه 80% من البرامج تقدم باللغة الإنجليزية. هذه فعلا أدهشتني هذه النسبة مثل ما ذكر. بالتالي هل هي دول دون دول أو يغلب في دول دون أخرى؟ هذا السؤال. جزاكم الله خير.
It's a question that I actually have always on mind. The student from the College of Law is, you have mentioned 80% of the courses are offered in English. Could you elaborate more on that and what I think would be also beneficial? Maybe we get provided with a list. We do go through due diligence to see which universities are offering complete programs in English. Sometimes it's not easy to do so. If you do have that, it would be very helpful that we have it and we can furnish it to our students. I believe that's probably the. Yeah.
No, thank you, and please don't take me on the percentages. It's a rough estimate, but it's what is more important is the that you realize that it is not in Europe as it used to be when I was a student or when we were students. It's a massive switch to international students. I think. This year, I think there was a figure that we had in Europe 1.3 million international students, and 2.4. I think if we count also Europeans that are doing their studies in another country than their country of origin. I'm looking at Elena because she's so 2.4. Can you imagine 2.4 million right now? International. I mean. Properly international students. So there was 40,000 PhDs that were delivered last year. I think 13,000 international PhDs. So was the possibility includes those Europeans that do a PhD in another country than their country of origin. And sorry for that, 14 PhD with a region. So there's a lot more that can happen, and there's many more internationals that go to Europe than from this region. So that's really something that we don't as ambassadors here understand, and we want to change. So that's why we do all that in order for the perception, because it's a matter of perception. Myself, I was not aware that in my own country, France, it was so much developed. Frankly, it's normal that there's some perceptions in mind. But again, language is not is not the issue. It's access to the information, and I agree. If we can boil that down to, opportunities and all that, I don't know how far we can give you all the details, because at the end of the day, it's also a personal experience. I mean, you're interested in one country, in one topic, and all that. But we'll try as much as we can to facilitate the access to the information together with Dr. Mazid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I suggest that we gather the questions from everyone. We'll give a chance for the next hour, as we don't want to miss out on a cake that was provided by His Excellency the Ambassador, brought with him. And what's so tasty about this cake, it has Saudi Arabia's flag just right next to the European Union flag. So it is guaranteed to be sugar-free. There's no calories, and it is provided. We did probably provide with the empty plates, but the cake is there. So what I suggest, any of you who has a question can bring it to us. We will compile it, and we will put it formally to question to His Excellency in a written format. And we promise I will follow up on it. As I said, as an opportunist, I make friends out of this. I have become friends with the diplomatic circle in my country. This is what our job is, to really bridge Saudi Arabia with the rest of the world through communication, passion, and friendship. So we will open this through notes. Just write your name, and we promise. If you don't want to write your name, that's fine, but we promise we will publish the answers on the website of the university, and that way we can benefit from the remaining moments to have the cake. But before that,
Can I just,
yeah, and I'll give you a second, but talking about the cake, we don't want to miss it. And then we're going to take a photo on the stage here with the delegation, and then we will move on. But please go ahead.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Mazid, and that was a tremendous experience for all of us. I just wanted to end on a more technical note. You have here colleagues from the different embassies. The ambassadors are there, but their colleagues are there. And on my side, there's a colleague you should not miss, is Elina Prakel, and she's the one in charge of education at the EU delegation. So she's just at the top of at the end of the second rank. So if you have questions, I mean, don't hesitate while eating your cake. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. In closing, once again, the apologies of His Excellency Dr. Badran Al Omar, the President of King Saud University, for not being able to attend today. But very thankfully, the Vice Rector, the Vice President, Dr. Abdullah Sayman, the other Vice Rectorates, and His Excellency the Dean of Law have been in presence. We will do, as I said, make a report and bring it up to His Excellency's attention. One thing, in closing, I would like all the diplomats in my country, look around in the aisle here. You see wonderful ladies. They are building up the new Saudi Arabia. They're playing a big role in making Saudi Arabia producing a lot for humanity. This is the new Saudi Arabia, where woman is a key in the development of the nation. I would like to thank every one of them, not because I have 5 daughters, but really that has been an impact on me to appreciate every single lady in the audience and in the university and also the society. We're very proud of our women who are going to do so much of contribution in the collaboration with the European countries. I can't wait that we meet again. Alina, you will hear, as you have been designated this morning by me as you're my boss. I will be communicating with you to reflect all the questions and concerns, and let really make today the start of a new era of cooperation between Saudi Arabia, the new Saudi Arabia, the modern Saudi Arabia, and the great continent that we call it the aging continent. How could it be a mix of experience and beautiful souls representing these countries? All of you have really shined. The campus of King Saud University today is definitely a festive day. All of you register today and celebrated every year that His Excellency has started something different that has never happened before. The first public broadcasted lecture by a diplomat at King Saud University. Thank you all very much for bearing with us. Thank you for the attendance, and we look forward to collaborating with the European Union, and I will become the servant of this along with my boss, Alina. And now the cake after the photo. Thank you. Please.
Thank you.